Finally, after many years, Nigeria will get leader where they listen. Many of them know say few days ago, where Labour Party released their campaign council, you get one general where he named the campaign council. When people complain, say no, we don't want this man for this to join this Labour Party campaign. In now reach 2 days after Nigerians complain, obedience complain, say why this man go take campaign. Instantly, they don't remove the general from the campaign council now. This is what we want to see. Make we get leaders where they listen to the yearnings of the people. Now I go like when I watch this video now, make una listen to the general now when don't come out to grant interview after they don't remove him from the campaign council. He not feel bad. He accept him in good faith because he know say now waiting the people want. And like they always say, the voice of the people is most times the voice of God. I would like when I watch video by myself and when I hear every 20 general talk, and as I watch them, make they share them. Make they see what they always talk about this obedient movement. Oh yeah, now when I watch the video.
Well, thanks for that assurance. I'm sure Nigerians will feel satisfied with that as well. Now, I wanted to ask you 2 questions. Are you satisfied with the conduct of politicians and the vision they are projecting to Nigerians? Secondly, your inclusion as a member of the Labour Party's Presidential Campaign Council, was met with a lot of resistance from a cross-section of the party's supporters, which led to the substitution of your name. And in spite of this, you continue to offer your support to Peter Obi's presidential aspiration. First, I would like to know how you feel about that substitution and why you continue to lend your support to Peter Obi and the Labour Party.
Okay, let me start from the one about you say about the Nigerian politicians. I think, talking about Nigerian politicians is an individual thing. And like I said, let me just take us back for the past 2 parties that dominated the terrain. And if you now call them 2 parties, in the real sense, they are not 2 parties. It's just one. One coin. You turn this side, you turn, they are the same thing. So I will say that if you talk about, I'm not in a position, I'm not God, but what we, to assess people, what they are. But what I see, what we have seen, and that is what informed my openly declaring and supporting the Labour Party, in short, particularly the principals. Because when you look at, you cannot give what you don't have. I'm sorry to say that all what they have displayed, the manifestos are just in some paper. I was a trainer, and we used to conduct researches and all that, in addition to what I saw physically manifested for this period. So I don't know whether the people can change overnight from being what they are. I don't know. So that is the way I see them. It's just one coin. If you say Nigerians were just complaining, bad leadership, bad governance, those that were in one party, they went to the other party, have they changed? It is obvious, it is difficult to change. And there's a proverb in my place that the big rabbit does not forget its old hole. Have they forgotten the old hole to come? And so all these things they are saying is just, and I look at it as protecting their status, or their in quote, maybe their future. That is why you see all this canvassing. So I believe that it is time now for us to come up with a new thing, the people with ideology. Let me tell you, one of the things that actually even encouraged me about, when you look at Labour Party comprise the people that sometimes, if you are not careful, you will neglect in the society. You talk about the people, they say they are, internet, there are people on Facebook, social media and all. But they are important. As little as that percentage is in the obedient movement now, they are very, very critical. In every ramification, they are very, very critical, very few. Then you now talk about the old people, a lot, the chunk, from my own analysis, the chunk of the people in the Labour Party are people who either left the older parties for one reason or the other, and probably must have made up their mind Now, we want a change. Because of what we saw in the other parties, we are changing. So that's another category. Now, you look at another category there, which is the core labor people, NLC and TUC. Those ones are the people that they are the major organs. And all these people that you talk about, labor people are people who have been laboring and laboring to see that they get results. Then you now talk about maybe technocrats and bureaucrats, people like say, look, I want a good Nigeria where I can. So when you put all this together, I believe that these are people that can come up with an ideology. And you remember the Labour say, look, anything about Labour Party is going to revolve around the charter, Nigerian Labour Congress charter, which is good. And I believe that once it is like that, I have seen that the principals here, the presidential candidate and the vice presidential candidate are not people that will lord it over people. That is a man that I have known for about 17 years. Then the VP also. So based on that, I can say that now it is good for a paradigm shift. By the time the Labour Party comes together after the elections, you can now have people with real ideologies, selfless people that want to serve without being, selfish, grabbing here and there, people who will be, before you know it, all manner of stories, that without people that you can entrust, they are competent, they are capable, people that will walk their walk, walk their talk, whatever they are saying, they will walk it, not that tell you something that cannot do it, and people that will cooperate, like for instance, the labor, the labor, the NLC, the workers and co, they will no longer do I'm adding my own, because part of what we have, the situation we have is, in short, there was a place I went after retirement, and I wanted them to say, they say no, table to table. I said, what do you mean by table to table? They say I need to give money that it's a standard. Why? Before I need another person say that is my own, what do you call it, security vote. Haba. So you can see that once there is a change, and then these people now come up with this ideology, that you cannot expect to happen with the old brigade. The old brigade, they are used to it, they have a root, they have a stem. You cannot change the stem of a root overnight, except you cut it. So that is it. So that is the way I can talk about that whole part. Now, you asked about the reaction that trailed my... It is for good. Why do I say it's for good? This category of very critical people, I call them critical mass, in the movement, in the run-up to... You need to inform them properly, strategic information. How old are the majority of them? Yes, and these are people that look, they're on the fast lane. They want information. So I am not perturbed in any way. Rather, it is for my own good and for the good of the Labour Party. Now we have a lot to do. The campaign is just one small aspect of the much we need to do to ensure that the Labour Party comes into government. So I am not perturbed in any way at all. It is for good. And that was why when I issued that statement, of course, by my own analysis, I always analyze because by my training, when I get bulk, I analyze and segregate them, samplize them. And when I sample them, at the end, when the statement came out, about 60 to 70%, oh, we didn't know this, we didn't know that, about 10%. So the majority were on the part that said, look, we can now understand better. But still, they are, so we need them. So I am not perturbed, and it gave me an opportunity to inform them. And by and large, trusting God at the appropriate time, I think, if possible, they will need to, they will be made to know that, look, this is and that, and this is how things happened. That it will not affect anybody in any way. So I am not perturbed. I am encouraged by what has happened, because it has happened now, and majority of them say, look, we need people like this. Let us ensure, because the sincerity is in me to ensure that we have a Nigeria that is secured, a Nigeria that economy will be good, a Nigeria that I only will not sit and be getting phone calls every other day for support, a Nigeria that children can be empowered, a Nigeria that there is hope, a Nigeria that the upcoming generation, in the next couple of years, we know that you don't need to know somebody before you can go forward. A Nigeria that you know that if you want to go out for anything, it's on merit. A Nigeria that when you go out, where you are there and things will be done properly, not that because of where you come from or because of this or that, you will be discriminated against. A Nigeria where there's equitable distribution of resources. A Nigeria where the children will begin to look at, you have to work with your hands, you have to labor before you get, not corruption. The idea is that it's like corruption now. Everything is corruption, has became like a norm. So that is why I must remain and ensure convinced by the Holy Spirit of God that I need to support Obi Datti because of this reason. So I am not perturbed, I'm not discouraged. It has encouraged me
All right.
for more strategic communication.